One of the hardest parts of running a business today isn't the product you sell or the service that you offer, but it's actually figuring out what your brand stands for, aka your values. And when I say values, I don't just mean another fluffy line on your about page. I want to be crystal clear about that. Because values show up in every aspect of your brand. They show up in how you make decisions, in how you price your services, even how you respond to global events. And lately, it feels like every brand is being tested. Remember back in 2020, when companies rushed to post a black square on their profiles? Some of those companies had real action behind it, while others quietly went back to business as usual. Or think about fast fashion brands who release the "We Care About the Planet" campaigns while still producing clothing that ends up in landfills 6 months later. We're seeing the same thing right now in the United States with the DEI rollbacks. One year, a company is proudly championing diversity and inclusion. The next year, the political climate changes and suddenly those statements are wiped clean from their websites. All of these actions determine the actual weight behind your brand values. And here's the truth, your audience can tell. Especially today when customers are sharper than ever. They notice when your messaging doesn't align with your actions. And they don't just want to know what you offer. They want to know what you believe in, how you treat people, and whether your actions actually match your words. So when I say your values will either attract or repel your customers, I mean it. You can't stay neutral forever because silence, in many cases, is also a statement. And that too is a powerful one. Now, there is a caveat to this. We'll talk about it later in the video when I bring up a recent brand case study. One that really shocked me, but you're gonna have to stick around to hear that one. First, let me ask you though, are your values clearly guiding how you run your business? Or are they just nice words on your website? Do you ever find yourself playing it safe or staying neutral because you don't want to risk alienating people? And maybe the toughest one, if you had to choose between losing a potential sale or staying aligned with your core values, which would you pick? If you're sitting with those questions right now, good. That is exactly where the work begins. Now, before we get too deep into this, if you're new here, I'm Hunter Myers, the face and mind behind Verdure Design Co. Through strategy-led design, I help bold founders build magnetic brands that sell with clarity and confidence. And here on this channel, we treat branding a little bit like dating because both require chemistry, commitment, and standing for something. Now let's talk about what happens when your brand values aren't real. I want you to think about dating someone for a second. And this person swears that you're the one. But then you find out they've been copy and pasting the same message to like 3 other people. That's betrayal. Suddenly that "don't worry, I deleted all my dating apps" speech doesn't quite hit the same. And that is exactly how it feels for customers when they realize that your brand values were just for show. It doesn't sit well with them either. And unfortunately, that disconnect is everywhere right now. Let's take Target, for example. For years, they built a reputation on diversity and inclusion. It truly was a core part of their brand and a really big reason a number of their customers bought from them. They loved it. It built trust and it built loyalty. But the moment things got politically uncomfortable, they pulled back. And guess what? Customers noticed. Now, Target is taking a huge financial hit. Not because they ever spoke about inclusion in the first place, but because people realized they weren't serious about it. And that is the risk. When values are just a costume, people don't just quietly stop buying. They actively avoid you. They tell their friends, and they turn into the opposite of brand ambassadors. They're like anti-ambassadors. So let's clear this up. What does it actually mean to stand for something in your brand? Real values are not just Instagram captions or hashtags or one-liners on your website. They show up in who you hire, in who you partner with, how you design your products, and even what clients you choose to turn down. And here's the key difference. Authentic values are rooted in your brand's foundation. Like I said, they guide who you work with, how you treat people, what your brand represents, even if it costs you money or popularity sometimes. And because they're real, they build trust. Customers, partners, even your employees buy into them because they can feel that they're consistent. Performative values, on the other hand, are surface level. They look good on the surface, they may make you seem trendy, but the second it is no longer convenient, they chip away. They might give you some clout in the short term, but if people discover that you're not actually living by them, the trust they had in you is gone. and rebuilding that is next to impossible. Think of Patagonia. They have been fighting for environmental protections for decades, not just when it's trendy and easy. Or let's look at Rare Beauty by Selena Gomez. She redesigned her perfume packaging so people with limited dexterity could use it. That is not marketing fluff. That is her personal conviction showing up in product design. And then there's Spanx. Sarah Blakely has been talking about women supporting women from day one. And she then backs it up by investing millions in women-owned businesses. Now, sure, some customers of these brands will buy from them simply because they like their products. But the people who become loyalists, the ones who keep buying and raving about your brand, they stick around because they believe in what the company stands for. And that's the difference. Products get customers, values get community. And here's a big thing that founders miss, and it is super duper important, okay? Values and branding are not about pushing politics. They are about building trust. Value-driven customers want to know that you will follow through on what you say you value. They want your actions to match your words. And when you can prove that, these customers won't just buy once, but they will become advocates, referral sources, and long-term partners. So let's bring this down to your business. Why does this matter for you as a founder? Here's the deal. When your values are authentic, they become your competitive advantage. So instead of competing on price, you're competing on principles. And here's the kicker. Value-driven clients are also often willing to pay premium prices because they're not just buying your service. They are investing in a mission that they believe in. Here's another thing that's really important to say. Trying to stay neutral, trying to appeal to everyone so you don't tick anybody off is actually one of the riskiest business positions you can take. Neutral brands are forgettable, and forgettable brands end up competing on price. And I promise you, that is a race you do not want to win. Okay, so earlier in the video, I mentioned a case study, and we are going to get into it right now. It is about the brand Sticker Mule. For years, Sticker Mule was the darling of the design and creative world. Quirky branding, affordable products, the kind of company that every illustrator and studio, including mine, recommended to people. But then, during the 2024 US elections, their founder sent a mass email urging customers to show your support for Trump through a sale or campaign that they were running. And here's the point I want to make. They made it about politics. Their brand, up until that point, had never given any indication that they were far right leaning. And then out of nowhere, the owner tied a promotion to a political campaign. It was 1,000% out of left field. And needless to say, it completely shook their customer base. I actually wound up making a video when it happened, letting businesses know that I don't encourage you to outwardly push customers towards a political candidate, unless some way or another it truly aligns with your brand's core values. And it was this contradiction in brand values that rattled their audience, mostly artists and creatives who are famously anti-alt-right. The sudden endorsement that this founder made clashed with that playful, inclusive vibe that they had been building for years. And within days, designers and agencies were canceling orders, sharing screenshots, and the trust that had taken over a decade to build was lost in a matter of moments. I was one of those customers, and I have never ordered from them since. And that's the real punchline here. And I really want you to take this away from the video, okay? Values are about trust, not politics. And to be honest, the lesson here isn't never talk about politics. It's that your brand values are not politics. But if you bring politics in, it has to match the values that you have made visible from day one. When your public actions don't match the values that people thought you stood for, the disconnect is going to eventually surface, and the fallout, look at Sticker Mule for example, can happen really, really fast. So here's the question that you should be asking yourself. If people right now were to dig deeper into your business and brand, would your actions and values line up? I want you to think about it. Before we wrap this up, let's turn all that thinking into action. If you're watching this and thinking, okay, but how do I actually figure this out for my brand? This is your moment. Pause the video for a second, grab a notebook, open up a Word doc, and get ready to answer these questions. They are designed to spark genuine clarity, and help you connect the dots between what you love and what your audience needs. Ready? So if you're building a brand and want to uncover what it truly stands for, these prompts are here to help you start. Number one, what is something you would flat out refuse to do, even if $1 million client ask you to do it? Number two, what industry practices make you roll your eyes or flat out make your blood boil? Number three, when you think about your absolute favorite clients, what do they all have in common beyond demographics? And finally, number four, what are the causes and issues you just can't ignore, even if they don't seem directly profitable? And remember, as you are answering these, keep it specific. I believe in treating people well isn't a brand value. That is just basic human decency, okay? But saying something like, I won't work with clients who underpay their contractors is a brand value. It's clear, it's measurable, and it costs you something. That's how you know it's a real value that your brand embodies. At the end of the day, authenticity is what attracts your perfect match. And in a world full of brands that change their colors with the trends, being consistent with your values helps you create a magnetic brand that attracts your tribe without any pretense. And then your customers won't just want to buy from you. They'll actually believe in what it is that you do. Plus, when you stand for something real, you stop chasing trends and actually start building trust. So long as you can walk your talk. If this video gave you clarity on how to anchor your brand in real values, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I share a new video every week to help you build a brand that's magnetic, memorable, and human first. And if you're ready to uncover your authentic values and weave them into your brand strategy, book a one-on-one power hour with me. The link is in the description, or you can DM me on Instagram to learn how I can support you. Now that's all for now. Thanks so much for staying till the end. I will see you next time. Go work on those values.